Why is St. Patrick's Day celebrated? And who was St. Patrick? St. Patrick was born around 386, named Maewyn Succat. Born in the later period of the Roman Empire in what is now Great Britain. As a young boy, he was not a Christian nor a saint, as he would attest to in his autobiography. At the young age of 16, he was kidnapped by Irish Celtic pirates and sold into slavery. He would serve 6 years as a slave in Ireland until his early 20s. During his time as a slave, he would convert to Christianity. One night in a dream, God came to him and told him to flee to the shore, where he would find a ship that would accept him. After this dream, he would escape and he would find a boat waiting for him to take him to Britain. The young Patrick would be able to reunite with his long-lost family, who had all had lost hope in him being alive. According to his own writings, after a couple of years living with his family, he had a vision of a man named Victorious, who came to him with many letters. He also heard people from the west calling out to him, and they cried out, as with one voice, "We appeal to you, holy servant boy, to come and walk among us." Patrick, deeply moved by his vision, felt it was his mission to return to Ireland. Painfully, he would have to leave his family once again to fulfill this mission. He would go to a monastery in France to prepare himself and became a priest in the Catholic Church. Upon his priestly ordination, he would take the Roman name Patricius, which we would know as Patrick. Spurred on by the vision, Patrick would return to the lands where he had once been enslaved, returning as a missionary to preach Christ crucified and resurrected. He would risk much to preach the gospel, but God's grace would protect him and he would work many miracles. At the time, there were very few Christians in Ireland, as opposed to Roman Britain, as the Romans had never incorporated Ireland into their empire. Instead, the native Gaelic people would practice Druidism, a pagan religion centered around the worship of the created order of nature. But this also involved the widespread practice of human sacrifice across the British Isles. A well-known example of this would be the Wicker Man, where humans would be placed in a giant wooden effigy and be burned alive. But oftentimes, the sacrifices would be carried out by Druid clerics on individual people to view internal organs to predict the future. However, St. Patrick would be undeterred in his drive to convert the native Irish Gaelic people. He would place all his trust in the Lord and would not cower to the dangers present. St. Patrick would evangelize and preach the gospel in many ways, teaching the people to worship not the created order, as the Druids did, but rather the creator of the created order. Famously, St. Patrick would utilize the humble shamrock to illustrate to the pagans the Christian doctrine of the Holy Trinity. As there is only one God, but 3 persons, so also with the shamrock, 3 leaves, 1 shamrock. We can't forget the famous legend of St. Patrick driving out the snakes from Ireland, sometimes misinterpreted as actual snakes, but really this functions more as an allegory to the way St. Patrick drove out pagan druidry from the Emerald Isle. For 4 decades, St. Patrick would live in Ireland. Ultimately, Patrick would die peacefully as a bishop on March 17th, around 461. After having baptized thousands and ordained many, he would be commemorated as a saint years later and as patron of the Irish. Today, his feast day has also become a holiday all across the world, especially because of the millions of people of Irish descent all across the world. Most people don't know the story behind this extraordinary man, but now you do. St. Patrick, pray for us.